original depositor, there's a good chance that there may be treasure at the end of this tunnel.
Yep. Beautiful. Yeah, there's some more trials in play this year.
Or the discovery of the money pit, right, Laird?
I think so.
Maybe while they were building the money pit, they were living here.
It's not out of
The Lagina brothers, Rick and Marty, just struck it big, like jackpot big, on Oak Island. After years of digging, sweating, and chasing every clue they could find, they've uncovered a treasure worth millions. And this isn't just about piles of gold or shiny jewels. It could finally crack a 200-year-old mystery that's had people scratching their heads forever. We're talking legends, curses, and whispers passed down from generation to generation, all tied to this little island. Before moving ahead, please like the video and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any new update. Picture this: Rick and Marty, two guys who just wouldn't quit, have been at it for ages, following hunches and old maps. Now, they've found something huge, maybe the biggest treasure Oak Island has ever coughed up. It's not just cash. There could be artifacts in there that rewrite history books. Stuff so old and important, it might tell us secrets about the island's past that nobody's figured out yet. Could this be the treasure everyone's been hunting for centuries? One thing's for sure, these brothers have just made Oak Island history, and the real adventure is only kicking off. Here's how it went down. Toward the end of their digging season, Rick had a light bulb moment. He picked a spot near an old garden shack, not too far from where they'd been poking around before. This wasn't just a wild guess. They're looking for specific signs, like a hidden room or a secret vault buried way underground. So, they decided to drill right there and see what pops up. Meanwhile, two smart folks, Dr. Ian Spooner and Dr. Fred Michael, have been running their own tests around the island. They've been checking the water near that garden shack and found something exciting, signs of metals that don't seem natural. They're convinced there's treasure down there, not just random rocks. They picked a new spot to drill, gave it a fancy name like E5 or 14M5, and figure if they go about 100 feet deep, they might hit the good stuff. Maybe gold, maybe something just as cool. These scientists aren't messing around. They've got data, experience, and a gut feeling telling them this could be it. It's a big, hopeful swing. But if they're right, the Lagina brothers and their team might just pull up the treasure everyone's been dreaming about. And that, my friend, is where the story's at. On the edge of something epic. The team's buzzing. This spot could be the one. They're calling it legendary already, gearing up with big grins and high hopes. Everyone's thinking, this might finally be it, the moment we uncover something jaw-dropping. The drill's ready, the anticipation's through the roof, and they're all holding their breath as it starts churning into the earth. With every foot it digs deeper, slicing through dirt and rock. The excitement cranks up a notch. This is their last shot of the season, and they know it. If the drill doesn't hit something now, they're stuck waiting a whole year to try again. So, they're glued to it, watching like hawks, nerves on edge. The chatter's non-stop. What if this changes everything? What if we're about to pull up more than just a few rusty coins? What if it's a legit treasure stash? Something so big people will still be talking about it years from now. It's not just about shiny loot, though. For Rick, Marty, Craig, and the crew, it's personal. Finding this would prove they've been right all along, that every late night, every sore muscle, every wild theory was worth it. They're dreaming of drilling down 50, 60 feet, then maybe sideways or straight down, hoping to stumble into a hidden tunnel or secret chamber. Each person's got their own little fantasy. Maybe it's funding a new adventure, securing their future, or just getting to say, I was part of history. But they're practical too. If they hit the jackpot, what's next? Who do they call? How do they handle it? They've got a game plan for every what if, and they're triple-checking everything, equipment, notes, you name it. They've had enough dead ends to know not to get too carried away. But man, hope's a stubborn thing. In the background, the drill keeps humming, a steady rumble that screams, "We're so close." They're watching, waiting, praying this last dig of the season cracks Oak Island wide open. Every year, though, it's the same old dance. Winter rolls in, the winds howl, and the team wraps up, usually with nothing but frustration and a pile of sand to show for it. They've got fancy tech and maps screaming, "There's treasure down there!" But it's like the island's playing hide-and-seek and winning. This time, as they drilled, every core sample pulled up had them on edge, hearts pounding, hoping this would be the one to reveal a vault stuffed with riches. So far, nada. But they're not giving up, not yet. The drill kept spinning, and the team held their breath, expecting gold or some big clue. Instead, sand. Just a relentless flood of gritty, mocking sand pouring out like the island was laughing at them. And not just any sand. This stuff was mixed with sticky clay, the kind that makes everything a mess. It's tough to dig through, and worse, it's useless for finding those hidden water channels they were banking on. False alarms and big dreams, one of them might have muttered as they crowded around each fresh sample, hearts pounding with hope and a little fear. But every time, it was the same letdown. More sand, then more sand, and then even more of this dry, useless stuff that told them zip. Each scoop was like a punch to the gut. They'd been so sure. This spot, marked on their beat-up map, was supposed to be the spot. Experts had said it. Signs had pointed to it. Everything lined up, until it didn't. Time was running out fast. The season was fading, and the cold was creeping in, biting at their fingers and reminding them the clock was ticking. They started tossing around ideas about this clay-packed sand. If it weren't so clogged with clay, it might have led us somewhere, someone said, trying to keep the vibe up. But deep down, they knew. This mix wasn't the key to the island's secrets. It wasn't going to unlock any hidden riches. Still, they couldn't help but brainstorm. Maybe this sand and clay is proof of something, like old flood tunnels built to guard the treasure, one of them threw out there. It was a stretch, but they clung to it, desperate to make sense of the grind. Could this be a sign of ancient defenses, keeping whatever's buried safe from folks like them? They were reaching, sure, but it beat admitting defeat. As the days wound down, they shifted gears. Time to clean the gear, review the logs, and dig into the data. They'd pore over every detail, every number, every sample, trying to figure out where it went sideways. The talks got nerdy, full of what-ifs and wild guesses. Each person had their own pet theory, their own spark of hope for next time, because that's treasure hunting for you. It's a roll of the dice, and most of the time, you don't hit the jackpot. You just get sand, a sore back, and a story about the one that got away. Year after year, Rick, Marty, Craig, and the Oak Island crew keep coming back, hooked on the mystery of what might be buried under all that dirt. Sure, they've had their share of letdowns, empty holes, and dashed dreams, but the idea of striking it big keeps them going. There's something about the chase, the teamwork, and that what if that's too good to walk away from. Every new season brings fresh plans, big hopes, and a promise to crack the code. They dig like crazy, punching hole after hole into the ground, each one feeling like it could be the one. But every year ends the same. High spirits, empty hands. Rick and Marty, The fearless leaders hold tight to every little clue, treating it like gold, absolutely convinced they're one shovel away from a massive treasure haul. This time around, they've got their eyes on what might be a man-made tunnel tied to the ocean. They're thinking it could be why the garden shaft area keeps flooding. A clever trap set up long ago to guard the loot. It's the kind of idea that sounds straight out of a pirate movie. Sneaky, thrilling, and just out of reach. But here's the kicker. After drilling their 600th well, yep, 600, they're still pulling up more questions than answers. You've got to wonder, are they really onto something? Or are they just sinking deeper into a daydream? They're buzzing about metals showing up in the water. Proof, they say, that treasure's close. We've got metals in the water, no doubt, one of them might say. And two top-notch scientists are backing us up. This isn't random, it's a big deal. They're sure it's a breadcrumb leading to riches. But 5 years in, with hundreds of wells and no jackpot, you can't help but ask, are they finding clues? Or just seeing what they want to see? Maybe it's just natural stuff in the ground, and their hopes are turning ordinary dirt into something magical. Every season wraps up like clockwork. They huddle up, sift through what they've found, usually just enough to keep the spark alive, but never enough to call it done. They hash out next year's plan, fueled by grit and that stubborn flicker of maybe next time. It's a cycle of hope, hard work, and hanging on, all because the pull of Oak Island's secrets is too strong to quit. The Oak Island crew's at it again, brushing off another season of close but no treasure, with the same big grins and bright ideas. Sure, the latest dig was a bust, but they're already hyped for tomorrow, ready to spread out their maps, data, and wild theories like kids with a new game plan. The empty holes sting a little, but weird little finds, like odd soil or funky water, keep their spirits up and their shovels ready. It's a tug-of-war between dreams and reality. Isn't this endless loop kind of tiring? Hundreds of tries, tons of what-ifs, and still, the treasure, if it's even real, stays a tease in their heads. They spot quirks in the dirt, strange stuff in the water, hints that might mean something big. But let's be honest, poke any patch of land hard enough, and you'll find something odd. Nature's tricky like that. Still, they keep going. Why? It's the rush of the hunt, the bond of the team, and yeah, maybe a pinch of imagine if we're rich. Every year they trek back to the island, chasing stories of buried loot. The Money Pit, that legendary spot, is their big prize, the heart of their mission, the thing that keeps the fire burning. It's not just about gold, though. It's the thrill, the little discoveries, the chance that this time they'll hit the jackpot. As they pack up their gear, scribble final notes, and shut off the drills, it feels like a rerun. Same old setbacks, same old clues, same old next year promises. But their hope? Unshakable. They're already plotting their comeback, tossing around ideas and arguing over what went wrong. This season's dig was a real roller coaster. They were pumped about some metal canisters near the garden shaft, big plans to drill sideways at 95 feet. Then, boom, the whole spot flooded. It's like the island's playing a prank, dishing out water and mud instead of treasure, same as always. They'd been jazzed about metal signals down there. Fred was dead sure it meant something juicy was hiding. But after drilling into a spot they nicknamed the Baby Blob, what did they get? Nada. Just more water. Even so, they're not throwing in the towel. They're eyeing the northeast side, between the blob and the garden shaft, betting new info might flip the script. Plus, they're hyping up traces they found in 3 other spots near the Money Pit. Disappointments? Sure. But these little glimmers keep them hooked, ready to dig into the next chapter. The Oak Island crew's buzzing about a spot they've dubbed Aladdin's Cave, a giant water-filled hole with tiny flecks of precious metals and some soggy old wood bobbing around. Watching them lose their minds over these floating sticks is wild. They're acting like it's pirate gold, which just shows how hungry they are for anything to brag about. This latest dig felt more like a hype fest than a win. Every time they shovel dirt, they end up with more, huh? Than, aha. And maybe a little less trust from folks watching. The real magic of Oak Island. It's a magnet for dreamers. These treasure hunters are a tough bunch, clinging to visions of striking it rich, even though they keep smacking into rocks and puddles. The island's got legends for days. Pirates, ancient goodies, lost riches, stories so juicy they'd hook anyone. Truth is, those tales are the real treasure here, pulling in TV crews, wide-eyed tourists, and eager diggers, all chasing that big what-if. The digging? It's a roller coaster of hype and flops. Big machines, dramatic drills. It's a cool show if you're on the sidelines. You get sucked into the excitement, especially when they unearth something odd, only to find out it's not much. Every season ends with them hyping up tiny finds like they're game changers, even after another bust. Take borehole RF1. Back in 2019, it got everyone talking when they hauled up huge wooden beams with Roman numerals carved into them, buried over 100 feet deep. They even found a pickaxe some say might have come from Scandinavia. Sounds like a history nerd's dream, right? But it's tough not to think it's just more spice in a stew that's light on meat. Then there's borehole H8 from 2017. They dug down almost 180 feet and claimed they hit parts of a chapel vault, bits of parchment, scraps of what might have been a leather book cover. Each find sends them into a frenzy about what could be down there. But so far, it's all maybe, and not much yep. The island keeps them, and us, hooked with its promises, even if the payoffs are slim. It's less about the loot and more about the chase, the buzz, and those little hints that keep the story rolling. Every season, the Oak Island gang pumps up their latest finds like it's the key to unlocking everything. They cheer, slap backs, and get everyone buzzing, only for the actual payoff to be pretty slim. They dig and dig, pulling up bits of this and that, wood, metal, whatever, hoping it's a clue to something huge. But it's the same old dance. Big hype, little answers, and a whole lot of maybe next time that keeps you scratching your head. It all kicked off with two brothers from Michigan, Rick and Marty, who, as kids, dreamed of pirate chests and secret loot. Fast forward a bunch of years, and that backyard fantasies morphed into a full-on mission. We're talking giant machines, a big crew, and TV cameras catching every move. Each scrap they unearth, say a chunk of wood or a rusty nail, sparks a new round of, what if it's gold, ancient relics, something epic? It's got everyone on edge. They peel back the dirt layer by layer, each scoop promising a game changer. But the big ta-da moment, always just out of reach. At this point, the digging's as much a show as it is a hunt, full of drama and cliffhangers that scream, "Tune in next year." Maybe the real treasure isn't some hidden stash. Oak Island itself, with its jumble of odd finds and endless mysteries, is like a story factory that never shuts down. That's what keeps us glued to the screen, season after season. The place is a playground for today's treasure hunters, decked out with fancy gadgets, trying to turn old pirate tales into something real. But it's not just about the loot. It's the team, too. The way they stick together, share the highs and lows, and push on no matter what. That's a tale worth telling. They're not just chasing treasure. they're chasing the end of a story that started way before them. Maybe even back with those two starry-eyed Michigan boys. Every little discovery, no matter how tiny, keeps the fire burning. Yet, when the season wraps, the island's still holding its cards close. Maybe the true gold here is how it keeps dreams kicking, drawing folks back with shovels and hope, chasing a legend that might just be a really good yarn. Oak Island's not just a spot with a past. It's where the hunt is the prize. The story never stops. It just piles on more twists. So, what's the deal? Is there treasure down there, or are we all just hooked on a tall tale? Could the answers be simpler than we think? What's your take? Toss your ideas in the comments, give us a like, and stick around for more treasure hunting craziness.